Alright, let's begin. It's Luke's turn. Last one opened up. Lucille Mitchell Wright. August 2nd, Leo. Of course you're a Leo. I knew there was a connection between you and me. 31 years old, 5'8". Occupation, president and CEO. Nationality, British. Religion, atheist but raised Anglican. Education, high school dropout. Privately tutored. Likes bread pudding, dogs, wine and absinthe, piano playing, daffodils, money, women, and power. No rock and roll? A prostitute son? Oh boy, we're starting off heavy. A prostitute's son, he spent his childhood roaming the streets begging or pickpocketing in order to avoid home. Home meant a too-drunk mother and her equally drunk clients, some of who would take to beating the child out of anger if he so much as looked at them wrong. That meant he was always in trouble in one form or another. Nothing was done to correct it until, in a sober moment, his mother found out about the abuse and promised to take better care of her son. Luke was happy for a while, but his mother's bad habits led to an early grave and left him orphaned until his biological father, a businessman with no legitimate heir, sought him out. He was trained to inherit Wright Enterprise, but along the way got mixed up with illegal activities. That put the company in a bad spot after his assistant ran off with a large sum of a large sum of dirty money. Hello, throat. Bankruptcy would have been inevitable if he hadn't married Hannah. Wow. That was not the profile I was expecting to get from him. It does explain why he's a bit crude around the edges, though. But wow. Huh. So, did he marry Hannah just for the money and then come to love her, or was there love before? Because he is very fond of her, it seems. Of course, we're going to get a look in his inner thoughts now. Maybe that was all a show. I don't know. Huh. Wow, okay. We're starting off heavy. Let's get into this, I guess. To say that I'm scared of what's happening is a gross understatement. Trouble of any sort is the last thing I want to get home to after a long day at work and a trip to the bar. And when I see Hannah near prostrate, I can only feel dread. She twitches and seizes, body wound and coiled tight before trashing, shuddering, and shaking. Like a woman possessed, her mouth falls open and her eyes roll to the back of her head. It has the hallmark signs of a seizure. The symptoms are similar enough. And that knowledge, the fact that I know this, only makes me feel worse. Oh, is that how your mom died? Oh, no. Oh, Luke. Lucille. No. That was the end of Hannah's route. But to hold her close is all I can do while she trashes about. Try to keep her from hurting herself. I know this is wrong, that I'm not supposed to hold her down, yet I do it out of instinct, reflex even. I'm terrified of hurting her, but I see no other way to keep Hannah from hurting herself. It takes a lot to keep myself from running off to get help when she needs me here. And it takes everything I have to keep myself intact. When she says my name, I realize that the seizures have stopped, but that doesn't make the dread go away.
Luke, please.
What happened here? Who did this to you?
I don't know. I am so sorry.
The sight of her tear-streaked face is enough to twist the knife in. It does not help that I'm as lost as she is right now, and all I can say is...
Shh, it's all right. You're safe now, Hannah.
No.
You're safe now.
Wow, back to October 29th. Okay, we're a few days back. I must have sat there in the kitchen, cradling Hannah in my arms for an eternity, until Shrokin and a maid ran in, assuming the worst. She had been screaming, enough to attract the attention of anyone on mansion property. But that's all well and good in the end, I suppose, as they helped carry Hannah up to our bedroom. I doubt I could have managed on my own. I might have slipped on the stairs and cracked both our heads if I tried. Both Shrokin and the maid does a short work of making her comfortable while I sit on the sidelines. I have no idea how long I remained there, just watching them and her. But at some point after they've left us, the sun has set, leaving the room dark and silent. Nestled in all the pillows and blankets and put on her side, though, Hana looks smaller than ever. She looks so weak and vulnerable that I can't help but worry. Not to mention the children! Think about the children! I wouldn't know how such an event would affect babies in the womb. Now seems like a good time to get drunk as any. Luke, go and hug your wife. Just go and have a good sleep. But I just can't. I can't bring myself to leave her side just to intoxicate myself. Not with what just happened. I might just drink myself to death if I so much as tried.
Please. Stay with me, darling.
Yeah, stay with her.
Of course. Anything for you, sunshine.
Aww. My heart. There's no way I can leave her side without feeling guilty. Besides, what sort of husband and father would I be if I don't take care of her when she's sick? Maybe there is hope for Luke after all. Not that I'm too confident about what I can do on my own. I'm not trained for this sort of thing. None of us are. Even if I've experienced similar scenarios before, I might still have it all wrong. I've already called our personal physician along with the obstetrician who knew of her pregnancy for a house call in the morning. We'll have to go on from there. I don't like to think about it, but I can still remember the doctor's instructions on how to take care of my mother while she was ill. Provide a safe space for her to rest. Check. Let her lie on her side so that she doesn't choke. Check. Loosen tight clothing to let her breathe. Check. Keep calm and don't panic. Well, I'm having a bit of trouble with that one, aren't I?
Do you want any water? Something to nibble on, perhaps? I can call for something to be brought up. Soup would be good, right?
Soup.
I'm fine, Luke. Don't you worry. I'm just a little sick, but I'll get better.
Poor Hana. A pained look crosses her face, and more than anything, I wish I can take away the pain she feels now. When she beckons me to come closer, to hold her in my arms, who am I to say no? Aww. Look at these two. I'm getting all teary-eyed. What is this? What's the beginning of this chapter? Her body still quivers, tiny shakes that make my heart feel like it's going to stop and give every time they happen too much. I take care to give her room to breathe, no matter how much of an uncomfortable position it puts me in. Her scent is enough to bring me at ease. Golden flowers, marigolds, buttercups, and daffodils. I'm not sure if she smells this way because I surround us with them when I can, or because she's wearing the perfume I gave her last Christmas.
There we go. Now, are we comfy?
There we go. Oh, there's a little one. Y'all comfy now? Stop, Luke. You're making me fall in love with you. She nods her head weakly, a smile barely making its way on her lips. I'd be ready to fulfill any request she has. Anything to make this easier for her. Anything to make her happy. But when she next speaks, I can feel my breath catch in my throat.
Sing me a lullaby.
Aw.
A lullaby? Of course. I can do that.
I'm ready. I know I've done so many things in my lifetime that would justify a horrible end. But not Hana. She doesn't deserve this. This is all far too horribly familiar. To find myself in bed, clutching reverently to an ill-beloved, wishing it isn't real and hoping it doesn't get any worse. To find myself screaming at a god I've long abandoned and forgotten, "Not her, not again. Take her and you will bloody rue." To have a lullaby shared so that we can forget the pain and the fear.
Hush, my darling, don't say a word. I'm gonna catch you a mockingbird.
I can hear her breathy laugh, though she doesn't tell me to stop. If this amuses her, then that's fine. But her breathing soon evens itself out. A good thing, too. And before I know it, she's fallen asleep. If only it would be as easy for me. I certainly don't envy her, but I don't particularly like how my mind runs right now. Battered and frayed, clutching at straws and asking myself if I'll really let myself fall apart in this moment. It's alarming how just the thought of losing her could break me, pregnant or not.
And if that mockingbird don't sing, I'm gonna get you a diamond ring.
I've already lost my mother, the only other woman I've truly loved in my life. And without knowing then as a young man, that wounded a great part of me. I am aware now of how scarred I am, for a lack of a better term. And if anything ever happens to Hana, well, I don't know what I'd do after the fact. Would the loss drive me insane? Would I become mad and swear bloody vengeance on a world that deserves less than her? Would I end up drowning in sorrow and guilt until I end up drinking one night and figuring a bullet is a good way to go? Or, perish the thought, would I become like my father, one who had no further love for anything, not objects or even not others or even objects or self? The vainglorious mogul that worked and worked for the sake of succeeding in the search of happiness that would never come.
And if that diamond ring turns brass, we're gonna go to fields of grass.
For a long while, I was that man, wasn't I? Pursuing gold and glory and nothing else. Bloody hell, I even started courting Hana for the money her family had. She was a mark to be attained. That's how it began. But she was just so bright. And I don't mean intelligent, though she is certainly that too. No, she was bright, in a manner that she could bring such sunshine to anyone's dreary life. I thought I would need to put on a mask with her, just like with all the others. But if anything else, she made it feel so constricting, suffocating, that I pulled off the mask on my own. I had wanted to be myself around her, just as she was so willfully showing her real self to those around her. It wasn't some sudden realization. There was no eureka moment. It just happened.
And in those fields where we roam, we'll take daffodils for our home.
We would meet up and talk about business. But then those could only last for so long after a few dozen dates. We ended up talking about other things. Little things that didn't seem to matter so much. Inconsequential things that one would end up forgetting in the grand scheme of things. Good food, good music, dogs, the film we just saw, books we've read while we were apart, and places we want to go to. Things that weren't important suddenly are. It confused me so much, but I was happy. And at some point, I told myself that this was the woman I wanted to spend my life with. Then I would forget that a lot. Oh yeah, you cheater. It was out of some misguided need to be my own person, to not be defined by anyone else. I refused to put her on a pedestal or to make her the center of my universe. Married or not, we were our own person at the end of the day. But I would forget to, at the very least, remember that she was there with me.
And if those daffodils die and wilt, we'll still have the home that we built.
She made me better, but I am, still me to an extent. Still the son of a bitch that has something to prove. I forget it again and again, no matter how hard I try. I'll spend extra hours at the office for something or another, to have favorable stocks, to take care of a debt, something. Sometimes I'll even bring work home if I haven't gone to drink and destroy my liver. I'll flaunt the riches, some of which aren't even rightfully mine in the first place, and lord myself over everyone else because I fucking deserve it. Because that is how I prove myself. When I don't even have to prove myself to Hana. Sometimes I wonder, had we met under different circumstances, had I grown up a different way, would all of this be any better? Would we be any happier?
Good night, my sunshine.
Now there's a thought. What is this field trip that we're starting with, guys? I was not prepared. No. After what seemed to be a seizure, Johans found the couple in the kitchen and helped usher the weak woman to the master's bedroom. Luke elected to stay with Hana today to care for her, singing of a lullaby until sleep came over them both. Dream time? By the way, shout out to Ghost Lady again for letting that touching scene happen and not being super jelly. Appreciate it.
Mommy, what happened? You were wiggling and shaking, and you wouldn't stop even if I was shouting.
What is this voice? Oh my goodness. Baby Luke.
I'm so sorry I shouted at you, Mommy.
Shh, don't cry. My little ball of sunshine's not supposed to cry, is he? Don't you worry. Mummy is just a little sick, but she'll get better. I've got a new job now, and I can get medicine again, okay? And we'll buy some bread pudding, too, while we're at it.
Am I crazy, or does the voice sound a little like Rose's voice actress? It might be the same one, but she sounds a bit like Rose.
Please don't do that again, Mommy. It's scary.
It's okay. I'm here. You've got nothing to fear. But you have to be brave too, Lucille. Even when I'm not around. Be brave.
It was a sweet dream, but of course, you know, you're dreaming of someone who's been long gone. I choke back a scream and wake up in a cold sweat. With my heart pounding in my ears, it takes a while to remember where I am. Whoa. What's happening here? In the dark and cold of the room, one can't fault me for feeling ill at ease. It isn't as bright as the penthouse, and the renovations did little to change how old it feels. We've been here for less than a week. It'll take a bit more time to adjust. It's hard to feel cozy, though, when I'm bloody freezing. Nudging the lump of fabric next to me, I sigh.
It's cold. Don't hog the sheets, Hana.
It's cold. If it's the ghost lady in there, I'm out. She always did this, though it hardly bothers me. Growing up, I was lucky to have something to use as a mattress. I'm not the one who grew up accustomed to Egyptian cotton with a thread count of 800. Dang. Besides, the warmth that Hana exuded on her own is usually enough to keep me sleeping through the night. The temperature tonight must be something else with how chilly it is right now. I must be considerate. After all, the poor dear is ill, though I loathe to think about what had just transpired.
Don't make me pull those sheets off you. That blanket is large enough to cover an elephant. You need to share.
Grumpy Kid Luke is not something I knew I needed, but I am enjoying it too much. It takes a while.
What was that, honey?
You're not here, are you?
Apologies. I'm just in the loo, so if you can give me a moment.
Oh, that's terrifying. There's no sign that they'll be moving where they lie. I got my knife from my knife collection. With care, I go for a knife hidden under the side of my bed. It would be foolish of me to instigate anything while I'm unarmed, after all. To pull back the covers would be a more difficult affair. Because, reaching out to uncover who was underneath, I have to prepare for anything and assume the worst. If I so much as see the nozzle of a gun, there's going to be a murder tonight. I know they say not to bring a knife to a gunfight, but I think I can sink a blade in his liver faster than he can point and aim. I see the rise and fall of the sheets, though it could easily be mistaken as the fault of the breeze. I hear their breathing. A great sense of foreboding comes over me, making me hesitate with my plan. I should just get Hana and myself out of here, not look back, and let security handle it. That's what they're there for. Or maybe I should just man up. There's no way I'm risking the chance that inaction will put Hana in danger. But what's the worst that could happen, right? I've no reason to be afraid. There's no bogeyman under the bed, no monster in my closet, no ghost under the sheets. If anything, these things should be afraid of me. Right? I grab a fistful of sheets and throw them aside. I see her eyeball. She was there. I saw her, Luke. Nah, 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 nah. She was there, Luke. I saw her. Oh, that's so scary. Luke woke up in the middle of the night with a scream and in cold sweat. Finding comfort in the warm body next to his, he tried to get back to sleep and forget the images plaguing his mind. Until Hana called out from the loo. Nothing. Nothing but a bunch of pillows stared back at me. Must be my imagination. Must be the wind. I'd rather not think I'm going mad. It could very well be the stress getting to me. All this drama with Hana. I've been doing well all these years, all things considered. I guess I do have a breaking point. But still, the world goes on even if one cannot, and I must go along with it. I suppose a day off or two tomorrow wouldn't hurt. Rest, aside from a few hours of sleep, will be welcome. More than. But I can't shake off the unease. I dare say that I feel afraid, irrationally so, that something will come creeping and crawling from under the bed, even as I lay back down and close my eyes. You never do know. She does like to hide around beds. The odd dreams don't linger, thankfully. But with the morning comes another disturbance. Both too loud and too sharp for my taste. Oh, is this when Zach came? And I have very fine taste. When the piercing rings of a doorbell reaches even the bedroom, I'm very much inclined to think the person who built this place lacks any sense of it. Perhaps the only thing good in this is that the ruckus has chased away the lean guilt from last night's commotion, if only temporarily. Still, it's a bloody annoying distraction. I can tell already that's going to be a long day. It hasn't even started. Before the racket even lasts another minute, I'm peeling myself off the bed and heading straight for the main door. There will be a murder today if this doesn't let up. I'm gonna murder everything. How quaint. It seems everything in this blasted universe is intent on getting in my nerves as of late.
Gordon Bennett! Only a Nancy would knock at such an ungodly hour.
I forgot about Gordon Bennett. In the first place, I shouldn't be the one doing this. This is why I hired a valet, for fuck's sake.
Where's that damn butler when I need him?
I'll be honest, if only for today. With the mansion this quiet at this hour of the morning, it's easy to believe those little ghost stories might be real. But the only horror here is the news Hana has brought forth yesterday and the very idea of me being a father. Neither the deafening silence nor the biting chill spreading across every room in the place. My wife is pregnant, bloody bollocks. Someone got up on the very wrong side of the bed. There's no place for fear when another set of problems already burns that fuel. So I wait for another second. When no butler still answers my call, I simply yank the doors open myself. Perhaps with more force than needed. Hi, Zach. And maybe it should be appropriately there, considering the person on the other side and the hour he dared appear on my doorstep. Even someone with half a brain knows not to disturb anyone this early. Brief confusion quickly gives way to anger, and before the bloody photographer can even get a word in, I'm hurling venom at him. It's less than he deserves, really. No, Zach! Hana will disapprove, scold me for treating the photographer with such disrespect if she hears me right now. She seems fond of him, after all, despite meeting him only once or twice. He's merely doing his job, she'll say. But she's not here, isn't she? What she doesn't know.
You? How the hell did you get in here? What in seven hells do you want? It's bloody 6 in the morning!
You're the one wearing an Armani suit at 6 in the morning.
Listen, sir, I know this is not a good time.
Oh, it's not a good time. Did you even check the clock before coming here? I bet you didn't.
This is still my home. My rules also apply to this place as much as Hana's do. As simple as that.
Unlike you, the ones living in this house need to sleep.
It just so happens it's also a person I will never take a liking to. No need for remorse. Why is that?
Come back when people are actually awake, or I'll call security on you.
He continues shouting even as I slam the door in his face. Some nonsense about the news lately, though I don't understand most of it. Actually, speaking of relationships... Well, you like Zachary more than you like Ashton. That's gotta be something. However, with the closed doors muffling the better part of it and with no ears to listen, his tirade doesn't last too long. Eventually, he leaves and silence once again fills the room as it should. In hindsight, maybe I should also call for psychiatric services. He certainly sounds mental just screaming like that. A suspicious man like him left roaming the immediate grounds. Nothing good can come of it. But if his presence will indeed bring a problem, a sign of bad things to come, I'll probably know soon enough. Worst comes to worse, Strokin will take care of it if need be. It's what I'm paying him for. Ah, your murder butler, yes. In the meantime, the bigger problem at hand. It's on a whim that I've chosen to cook. Sure, I have a lot of other things I could have done instead, but cooking distracts me, and I do find it relaxing on the rare occasion I step up to the task. Ooh! That looks good. On the tray, 2 plates of roti, paired with spicy beans, boiled eggs, hash brown, and bacon, topped off with peppers, courgettes, and akis? It's probably not how you say that. Whatever it is, looks good. I can't get back to sleep after my abrupt awakening earlier. Although I did think about drinking to get some 40 winks, I've changed my mind at the reminder that my very pregnant wife is sick in bed. I love my alcohol, no doubt, but there are times when even I shouldn't drink. Especially you with your pancreatitis, sir. As it is, I'm running on nothing but 2 cups of coffee. The surprise on Hana's face is apparent the moment I step into our bedroom holding a breakfast tray. But it quickly changes to a look of delight as I place the tray on the bed.
Good morning. What's all this then? Oh, that does smell good.
Oh, you look good right now.
I made breakfast. In hindsight, I probably should have prepared something a lot healthier for you.
Oh, don't you fuss. This is absolutely perfect. A little grease isn't going to kill me. Feels like forever since I last had your cooking.
I don't see what you're so enthusiastic for. I'm no master chef. I won't be too mad if you tell Johans to cook something else for you.
But it's nice because you made it.
That just means more for me, of course.
I can't wipe the grin off my face when Hana takes a bite and looks like she's enjoying what I've made. It would be a lie to say I'm not glad or proud that I can make her happy. Though, perhaps I haven't been able to do that as of late. But Hana needs me now, and that counts for something, doesn't it?
Oh, I don't think I can finish this all. But I should, shouldn't I? After all, I am eating for 3.
Indeed. I feel a terrible pit in my stomach at the reminder. I try to fill said pit with food anyway. I feel you there. But bloody hell, I don't think I'm ready to raise a child, let alone 2 of them. There's nothing else that can be done other than to steel myself for fatherhood.
Speaking of you 3, what did Dr. Hobbs say? How are you and the babies?
The physician took some of my blood. I'll go through some other tests tomorrow to make sure we're fine. I know how you hate hospitals, so I asked Johans to drive me there. That way you can have some alone time with Kylie too.
Aw, that's nice.
Admit it, you just want to leave me alone with a little tyke without any backup.
Ha!
Don't be like that. You'll do fine, I'm sure. And she'll love spending the day with her fairy godfather.
Of course, I can just look at it like it's practice. I do want to be a good father, right? Not like my own. Though I don't think any practice in being a parent would have helped him. He hadn't cared about the son he sired until he learned that he was ill and was not long for this world. And even when he did find me, he still cared little. I definitely do not want to be like Damien Wright. So, in that case, you should be worried about the children?
I'm just worried about the children, Hana. I know you can take care of yourself just fine. You're one tough cookie.
She is. She's very tough. Yay! She liked that.
Look at you, already becoming a great father.
Nah.
One day, when the kids are all grown up, I'll tell them the story of how their dad is being a great big worrywart. Just leave being pregnant to me, alright?
My hand moves to Hana's stomach, which has yet to grow too much beyond its usual size. There is some pudge hidden well behind her dresses. I'm half expecting to feel something, perhaps a kick. They always talk about how that sensation cements everything, proof of life that goes beyond a growing belly. But of course, it's far too early for that.
Still can't believe it, you know. I didn't think it would ever happen. We're going to have kids.
A shame. I certainly need grounding. It would help me get my head around what's going on.
How are you feeling about all of this?
I'm freaking out. I don't know how I feel, actually. Worry is the first thing to come to mind, and I don't think I'll ever stop feeling that. That's what brought this on, isn't it? And it would be awful of me to say that I'm not happy at the news. Excited, even. But that all did not stop me from feeling the same fear I had from when Hana first told me of this. I was so afraid. Still am. I never gave thought into being a father until now. But I'm already afraid for them, their safety, and the world they would find themselves born into. I'm afraid for them because of me, the bastard who will be their father. The only consolation that comes to mind is the fact that they'll have someone like Hana as their mother. Like I told Miss Pink, I never wanted to spawn anything. Though I truly did not mean to call a child, even an unborn one, an abomination. Of all the people in this room, I'm the one closest to being a monster, after all.
I'm all right. You're good, so I don't see why I shouldn't be. I'm not the one carrying a pair of brats around in my belly, am I?
Oh no.
Just think about it. 2 tiny humans are inside of you, and you're going to swell up like a watermelon. If you can get through this, so can I.
I'm afraid. But the smile that Hana gives me is enough for me to believe that everything will be fine. We eat the rest of our meal in companionable silence. And if I shovel some food off my plate onto Hana, she makes no comment on it. Look at you.
Come on then, sunshine. Eat up. Can't have any of you starving on my watch now, can I?
I say it in a joking manner, but I am entirely serious about making sure they didn't starve in every sense of the word. I know it is an impossibility to be lacking when it comes to food with how well off we are. But there are other things a person can be starved of. Affection. Attention. I can probably think about a third word that starts with the letter A? But I digress. A third? What? Appreciation? Adoration? Nothing else is coming to mind. Soon enough, our plates are clear and I put them away. There is no objection to it either, as a quiet yawn escapes her lips and her eyes start to droop. Indeed, the urge to sleep is high after having a full meal and with an inviting bed. But sleep isn't what I want or need right now. Alright. Let's read about breakfast. Come Sunday morning, Luke continued caring for his sick wife, going as far as preparing breakfast for her, putting a smile on Hana, even more when he admitted worrying about their children's well-being. When sleep had taken her once again, he simply left her to rest. I'm quiet as I can be when I make my exit, tray of food in one hand, which I'm quick to pass off to Johans as soon as I see him.
Johans, look after her. I just need to get out.
Stretch my legs, clear my mind, think. I don't think having screaming, crying babies will give me much time for that once Hana gives birth.
Is everything all right? Should I be worried?
Everything is good. Really. Best I've ever felt in quite some time, I think.
Well, I think that's cause for concern. Shall I expect to find a corpse in need of cleanup?
Oh, hush. I can only shake my head and grin, the deadpan delivery both amusing me and making me wonder if he is joking or not. It can easily be half and half. There has been an instance or two where that did happen. Ah, okay, so you've killed a couple of people. Good to know. But I don't give him an answer, let him keep guessing, and step out for a breath of fresh air. This character, oof. Talk about conflicted feelings. Gray skies loom over in the horizon, though the sun fights for every precious minute it gets to stay. It'll rain again soon, with the wind bringing along the gloomy clouds normal to Luxburn. Until then, it doesn't hurt to be out here for fresh air and sunshine. I walk to the gardens, what little of it there is at the moment anyway, and kneel by the daffodils. Ooh. These were the first to be brought here and planted on my request. And if nothing else, they brought in a sense of peace. They were Mother's favorites. Okay, so Hannah was right. You have liked daffodils from way before you met her, because of your mom. Closing my eyes, I lift my chin up to welcome the light that shines upon me. And for a minute, I can imagine myself as one of the flowers, peaceful, blooming, and all too happy to stand in its warmth. Life would be much easier if we were all like flowers, wouldn't it? But I didn't step out here to get all philosophical. I have problems much more practical than figuring out the meaning of life, after all. Too many things have gone on these past few days. And I want to forget about them, even for just a moment.
It's almost All Saints, isn't it? To think I've almost forgotten.
I speak the words absent-mindedly. The date means nothing to me, as I neither worship the religion nor have any graves to visit. After all, Mother was never given a proper burial. Aw. But it's a date, as good as any, for me to grieve. Otherwise I would have done so every single day, crippling myself and shutting everyone else out. I can remember how the flames licked at her flesh and how it consumed her body until there was nothing left but ash. I stood there watching with the operator and a social service worker, though I could have been alone for all I cared. I felt alone. It was the most that could be done. No one would attend the funeral of a dead prostitute, let alone pay for it. All that is left of her, proof that she had lived, is her name written in the ledger of Luxburn Cemetery, a lighter, and me. Eleanor. Pulling out the lighter from my jacket, I can't stop myself from flicking it open to stare at the flame and to run my thumb over her name. All in all, it isn't much, but it's something. And it'll be wrong of me not to make something of myself when she would have given everything to make sure I can become anything I want to be.
Feels like I'm stuck in a nightmare right now. What I would give to have you here by my side, Mother dear. To see you smiling at me. Alive and as beautiful as ever. I'm afraid I'm starting to forget what your face looks like. I've already forgotten the shade of your hair.
Eleanor Chandler was a wonderful woman, though not everyone would have agreed. Not everyone had seen past her occupation, past her vices and her illness. All they saw was a poor woman who sold her body to make ends meet and had a bastard son because of it. They didn't see the mother who worked hard to put food on the table for me, the woman who gave and gave and gave to me while expecting nothing in return. She taught me the merits of hard work, but though I loved her so, I worked hard for myself. I would not be so foolish, so selfless towards people who would never give back. I learned that from the father who plucked me out of an orphanage for his own selfish gain. I pocket the lighter before I can feel the urge to actually set anything ablaze. Considering my close proximity to the flowers, they would be the most likely victim of arson. Just the thought itself is blasphemous. Nevertheless, that doesn't save them from being picked. Just enough to make a bouquet of the things in honor of Eleanor.
Would you be proud of me if you saw me now, Mother? Maybe. You're always so forgiving. No matter what trouble I got into, more than I deserved. Especially now.
It's been a while since I've talked to my mother like this. I've been thinking of both my dear parents far too much as of late when I shouldn't. I have a future to look forward to and the present to take care of. These memories of the past give me nothing but grief. The life of Lucille Mitchell Chandler should be nothing but a footnote in Luke Wright's non-existent autobiography. It's because of Hannah, isn't it? I worry that she is all too much like Mother that it scares me, and the thought that I'm turning into my father is even more so. But even if history is so set to repeat itself, I'm not a child anymore. Content to sit aside, unable to do anything to help, and too inexperienced to think that the worst wouldn't happen. I have money to buy the best medicines and doctors if need be. She'll get better. She has to. And once we get over this little bump in the road, I can stop worrying. All will be right with the world. Unfortunately, my time alone is cut short, though.
I think those flowers look beautiful, my lord.
Excuse me? Who's this?
The parlor, the room where the lady stays for her tea. It could certainly use some.
Are we seeing... Is this gonna be Ghost Girl... non-dead version? The voice is not familiar, though I'm not really one to remember such things. Small talk. It's her. It is her. You are beautiful. Huh. Wow. So you can look like that. Why do you show yourself as a terrifying dead woman all the time? You can talk normally. Or is this just like a memory that's left behind? I was not expecting this. She is so pretty. Going with her attire, I would say that she's one of the housekeepers. Strange, considering I've sent all of the staff but Johann's away. And her face, as pretty as it is unfamiliar to me. It would be a lie if I said that it didn't set me on edge. Most would say that I cared little for my employees. That isn't entirely untrue. However, I'd like to think I know the people who work for me, especially those who would roam my home, even if it's just a face and a name. Besides, I would remember a beauty such as her. Yeah, for sure. So who is this? If she has someone impersonating a household staff to get in, she's doing a bad job of it.
Didn't you get the memo? Are you new?
Are you new?
Today is a day off. You aren't supposed to be here.
I expect poor excuses and apologies the likes of her often give. But she merely smiles.
Oh, no. I've been a servant here since you first came.
And I see no signs of lying or hear it in her words. Yet they can't be true. But I find that I feel like I can relax. She has that sort of smile that makes one's kindness shine through without words or action. It reaches her eyes, filling them with a strange sort of mirth, as if she's just thought of something very funny. Perhaps, had it been any other person, I would have interpreted it as a deceitful grin. But the curl of her lips and the shine of her eyes are too soft to hold any malice. She takes my silence as a sign that she can continue. And it's not like I feel any urgency to stop her. I'm not really in the mood for company. But I'm not adverse to it at the moment either. Entertaining a beauty like her, even for a little while, wouldn't hurt. It helps that she proves easy to listen to, despite how oddly she speaks.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I shouldn't have bothered you. Look at me, talking to the master of the house without even asking for permission. What will the others think? If you'll excuse me, I'll just...
I haven't driven you away yet, have I? And it's your day off. I don't see why we can't chat a bit.
This is so weird.
Of course. If that is what you wish. As long as it does not get you into trouble with the lady. To even take time for someone as lowly as me. No wonder that everyone under the mansion's employ is so fond of you. Though it should have no longer been a surprise to me. You have always been such a kind and loving lord.
I have to stop myself from calling her out on her shite. It's almost as if she's talking about an entirely different man. Maybe so. We don't know much about that guy, but he is a completely different man from you. No matter how big my ego gets, I know for a fact that I'm hardly in the running for Best Boss of the Year award. The only reason that most of my staff stay is because of the decent compensation. I'm not cheap. But if she wants to lay it on thick, I'll allow it. Who wouldn't want a beautiful woman complimenting them?
I'm sure she'll be fine with this. We are just talking after all. Unless you had other things on your mind when you approached me.
Lucille Wright. The words leave my mouth before I even realize what I've said. I panic a bit. Though I can get away with picking up women out in the city, sometimes even out of the country, I've always taken care not to do so in my home or in my businesses. Not when it'll be so easy for Hana to find out about my infidelity through these channels. So why did you sleep with her best friend? Though, seriously, I still don't see what the big deal about it is. I just have an itch I need to scratch. You have a wife that can scratch said itch, man. Sheesh.
I know it must be amusing to see a girl flustered for a man of your stature, but please don't say such things, my lord. I saw you alone and simply thought you could use some company.
Thankfully, and I do count my lucky stars, it seems the woman takes it as a joke rather than the casual pass it was intended to be.
So how are you liking your work around the mansion? The place is wonderful, but I imagine the upkeep is ungodly with all the rooms and whatnot.
Mansion.
I don't even want to think about how many people are on the staff roster.
Work is work, my lord. It is a way of living. A purpose from day to day. It is certainly far better than doing nothing or having no food to eat. The house itself is also beautiful. There's no lack of things to look at. I'm sure you've seen those books in the study. I can't read any of them yet, but if given the chance, I'm sorry. I shouldn't be thinking of those things. Especially when the rains, they might bring more work to us soon. It will definitely be much more difficult when it returns. Idling about is the least I should be doing.
I guess you can put it that way if you want to be brutally honest about the whole thing. And the rain shouldn't be a problem.
The rains.
Hopefully. Maybe.
Maybe. Possibly. If a little dreary, at least she doesn't beat around the bush. I like the honesty. Many would bemoan their status as a household staff, as a janitor or other menial role, and believe themselves to be for greater things. And I would not begrudge the idea that one can always get better. But one shouldn't be so discontent with what they have either.
The rain is something I simply must get accustomed to, if I am to live here. I've not spent long in this place after all.
Oh, so the rains bother her because she's not used to them.
But I have been told that it has rained in this nation since a mother's time, and their mother's time. There is little we can do about it. I am just glad to have time in the sun, even for a short while.
Isn't that the truth? Really, these sunny days have been welcome, though I can't imagine they'll last for long.
This is so weird. This is like the longest conversation anyone's had with the ghost, but it's like they're both having separate conversations out of time that are still working somehow. It's really weird.
Sometimes I just want to pack my things and leave for somewhere like, say, the Bahamas or whatnot. Get some sun and surf.
Take me with you.
But certainly, you will return for us, won't you? This is your home, after all. Your people, they won't be pleased if the master of the house leaves.
Of course, I can't very well leave my businesses hanging here, can I? I just wish I could actually trust people enough to go on vacation without taking work with me. I've also got to get back here if I ever want proper meals. A proper pudding is something you'll never find out there.
The woman nods in understanding, and I must say that she makes for a fine listening ear. Though, what she says next gives me pause, whether she meant for me to hear it or not.
And good tea. From what the cook has been telling me, I've yet learned how to prepare one. Perhaps once I do, it would endear the lady of the house to me. I never expected her to be so unkind after what she did for me.
Interesting. So she saved you, brought you in as a servant, but then started treating you unkindly.
Though it's only if one catches her in a foul mood. I wish I knew how to avoid her anger.
I highly doubt she means Hana. That woman rarely has a mean bone in her body. And when she actually is nasty towards someone else, it's usually deserving enough. Much like with that Rochelle woman. Hell, she even tolerates Harvey for me, even if she did admit that she doesn't quite like the man. She Must mean the head housemaid, right? I have to laugh at that. Not that I have room to speak. I don't deal with her myself anymore, though. Though even Johans has a few choice words about the head hag. Nice. She's just been under the right employ when she was also head housemaid for my father. And if anyone's not going to get along with someone, it'd be that crotchety old woman. I don't even remember her name. But the woman had been the strict, upstart bitch who took one look at me, her master's bastard son, and turned her nose up, as if she were better by mere consequence of birth. That and she absolutely loathed my very existence. Perhaps the rumors had been true. She had a miscarriage while bearing another one of dearest father's children, and she saw me as an obstacle to her being granted a better standing in life. This chapter is crazy. I remember that much, at least. The only reason I haven't sacked her yet is because of her competence. Also because working under my household makes her absolutely miserable, her resignation made impossible by her pride.
Nobody really gets along with that woman. I think everyone just tolerates her because of how old she is.
Huh.
I mean, not to be rude or awful or anything, but she's at the age where she'll be pushing daisies soon enough.
Is she? Really, my lord? I'm sure the lady is much younger than that.
I think the thought of tormenting the young and beautiful gives her reason to live.
It does seem that way. Though I feel sorry for her. One's life should not be wasted away on hatred and anger. It is never good for the heart or the head to always carry ill thoughts. But at the least, you are here for us. We are certainly so lucky to have a lord like you. The lady even more so. The gods smile down on her. Though, if I may be honest, she is to be envied.
Even when I have my suspicions about her, she's just so easy to talk with that I've forgotten. I don't know who she is, and if she's actually one of the household staff. That would explain why she would so easily give obviously wrong statements about my character. Though, if she is here for malicious reasons, she would have done more than do small talk with me by now, wouldn't she? I have so many questions. Perhaps curiosity will kill this cat, because I'm a Leo. Row.
It's strange that I've never seen you before. What's your name?
Takako?
You do not remember?
I don't believe you've mentioned it, or am I missing something?
You still cannot comprehend it. Can you, my lord?
Her answer chips away at the good mood I'm starting to get into. I have every reason to be angry at the cryptic response. She threatens insubordination with her very presence alone. But instead of hurling vitriol at the woman, I take a deep breath. I do not want my mood ruined further than it already is. Not right now, when I can let my temper take its course another time.
Whatever your name is, and no matter how long you've been working for us, that does not change the fact that you shouldn't be here. I'll call you a cab to bring you to the city if you want.
Shouldn't I? What if I do not wish to leave?
And here we go.
I merely desire to stay by your side and serve. Is that such a deplorable thing?
Did the lighting get redder? Her gaze sends chills down my spine. It's too easy to see the devotion, the obsession in her eyes. Not the good sort either, as her scrutiny makes me feel like I'm laid bare. The offness of her presence is all the more palpable with the feeling of bugs crawling on my skin, and the silence that makes it seem as if the world has stopped. Any friendly atmosphere we might have had going for us is completely forgotten. Danger. A small part in the back of my mind screams, the part that has kept me alive all these years. And in hindsight, I'd be stupid not to take heed of it. But I've grown arrogant, complacent, and content to hide behind wealth and power.
Yes, it's a deplorable thing, as you said, because I'd like to be alone now. Thank you very much. If you didn't want the day off, you should have reported to your superior. This is utterly unprofessional of you, and I shall be issuing complaints. In fact, if you know it's good for you, you should start looking for another employer.
It's at my threat that the smile on her face turns tight.
I see. It escapes you still. This is unfortunate. How despairing that this misery must go on. But maybe, if you come with me, I can help you. I can.
Is she giving us hints as to how to break the curse? Do we have to remember her name? Is that important? When she reaches out for me, I recoil with a hiss.
How dare you lay your filthy hands on me without my permission? I am not going anywhere with you. Now step back and walk away before I have you forcibly removed.
Feeling brave, Luke? Oh dear. In there. Well, she's not bloody or scratched or anything. As if a switch had been flipped, the woman's expression turns horrific. Although that may very well be the understatement of the century. She does look better than she usually does. She herself turns horrific. Her presence is suffocating, bearing down on me. I'm rooted on the spot through no fault of my own as my fear paralyzes.
You are too much like that vile woman. Poisoned by her rotten influence and her filthy words. But that can be remedied now that you're here. Oh, how we have waited to welcome you home.
We.
Come, my lord. The house beckons.
When her fingers grasp the back of my coat, I finally find it in me to break off into a run. Yay! Later, I'm out of here forever. Goodbye. Wanting some alone time and fresh air, Luke excused himself, lingering in the gardens as he remembered the memory of his late mother. Suddenly, a beautiful woman appeared by his side, striking up a conversation with him. It was all pleasant at first, until... I can still feel her eyes on me as I run back to the house. But I refuse to acknowledge it, let alone look back. All I need is to get away from her to make sure she stays away. If that means acting like a coward and seeking out company to keep me safe, nobody can tell me to do otherwise. Bravery isn't something to be lauded if it comes along with stupidity. And death. Is it nighttime now? It is evening. How long were we out there? It must have been a sight to see the usually composed and reserved Luke Wright bursting through the doors. Not that I have much of an audience, unless there are other staff members who's chosen to disregard my orders for them to leave. Really, I still doubt that woman is one of the staff. Mustering up the courage, I look back through the windows to see if she followed me. She's gone. But I don't take any chances, putting as much distance as I can between us. Yawns! There's a woman out there! Have you seen her? So Luke's very first interaction with the woman is her being beautiful, and even when she went horrific, it wasn't as horrific as she's been other times. Stopping to catch my breath, Johan's sudden appearance nearly makes me jump out of my skin.
Don't fucking do that! You son of a bitch! If I had a gun, I would have shot you!
Oh, Luke.
If I had any love left for my mutter, I'd take offense.
Ha.
But what happened to you? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Funny you should say that. Oh, if only I were such a delusion. But I can still feel her sharp nails digging into my back. The feeling was too real for it to have been a ghost.
There was his housekeeper. I think, I'm not sure. In the gardens. She was acting odd, and I thought to remove myself from the scene.
That's a nice way of saying I ran like hell to get out of there because I was scared.
Strange. I made sure the rest of the staff had left and that the house was empty, as you requested. Describe this woman.
Why did we get rid of the staff anyway?
She had pale skin, dark eyes, and long, dark hair.
Long.
She wouldn't give me her name.
I half expect a name from him. The man knows the staff better than I do, after all. But instead of an answer, he grows quiet. I'm pretty sure that is not a good thing. I'm even more worried when the other man looks me over. I have to protest when he pulls back my collar.
What in the bloody hell are you doing?
Checking for marks. Needle marks, to be exact. We don't have anyone like that among the staff. You could have easily been kidnapped.
A cold feeling settles itself over me at the thought. I've long established my power over the more unsavory characters in Luxburn. Or I thought I did. and the most harm I thought that could come to me would be slander, robbery, or incarceration. Kidnapping? An attempt on my own person? I've forgotten that I'm as human, as mortal as any other man despite my wealth and status.
Fortunately, you look unharmed. But I advise that you be accompanied by trusted individuals at all times from now on. If not me, an assigned guard. I'll be informing them of this soon, as they return from their day in the city.
Already I can feel the energy leave me at the realization of what could have been.
All right. Yes, I suppose we should do that. But I think I'd like to call it a day. I should be safe in bed, yes?
I'll stand guard outside for the night. The madam has been inquiring about you, by the way.
A guard. Any other threat and he alone would be enough to make me feel safe. But what I saw, whatever it is I saw, would one man be enough?
That's all well and good, but there's something else. That housekeeper, she...
Luke, you're home. I was worried about you.
The grin that I can muster is probably lopsided. Forced as I snapped my mouth shut to keep myself blabbing about witches and monsters. Because here I am standing in the hallway, dirt on my pant legs and sweat dotting my forehead. A far cry from my usually pristine condition. I don't want to worry Hana. A cough.
What happened to you? You look like you wrestled in the mud and moss, dear. And those flowers. Were you gardening?
Yes.
What? Oh, these. I didn't realize I still had them.
Aw, I even tied them with a bow. I really did not. But there they are, still in my grip, the daffodils I had taken from the garden. Even in the wake of my flight, I had refused to let go of them, whether I was conscious of it or not.
Shall I put them in a vase?
Should I? Don't throw them away. You have them. Yay! We're full now. Perhaps I did it to save face. Or maybe a small part of me really had planned to take them for her. But, like a young man presenting flowers to a Valentine's, I awkwardly thrust the bouquet in Hana's direction.
They're for you.
These are lovely, thank you. But aren't these?
The surprise is to be expected. And the open-ended question needs little interpretation. I've never given her daffodils before, especially not from ones that I considered mine.
They're for you. Don't make me think that kneeling around in the dirt was a waste of my time.
They're for you.
It's not. It's not. Just... Are you feeling alright? I hope whatever I have isn't contagious.
Ghosts have a way of being contagious.
I'm not sick, Hana. I just got them for you. I thought they'd make you feel better, brighten up the room. I don't need my intentions questioned. The thank you was enough.
And I didn't mean to insinuate anything.
All the
but
blush.
You're right. Thank you, truly, for these.
She takes them from me then, careful not to crush the stems. There is still uncertainty on her face, which endears and annoys me in equal parts. But she does look lovely with them. The very picture of her something that should be immortalized in paint. They should be for Mother. But it doesn't matter anymore.
Why don't we turn in for the night? You must be exhausted with all that gardening.
Yes. What does a dead woman care for flowers?